Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Megan, the Healing Foods Coach. I'm so glad you guys have decided to join me today. For those of you who have been following me for some time, thank you as always for your ongoing support. And if you're new, thank you for taking time from your day to check out my channel and watch this video. So let's get right into it, shall we? Today's topic is about food freedom. What is that? What does that actually mean? It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, I think. For those people who can't afford a lot of food, who are maybe in a starvation mode, perhaps they are very poor, perhaps they're in a part of the world where food is hard to come by. And for them, food freedom would mean the ability to get enough to eat every day. And that is freedom. That is a form of food freedom. And I think that's what it really should refer to. But in the Western world, where we have everything can be delivered, whether it's Just Eat, Uber, whatever the delivery service is in the place you live, food freedom for us means the less we have to work to make it or put effort in to have it, the better. So we have all the fast food places, and we have all the restaurants, and we have all the things we can do and all the places we can go where somebody else can cook for us, package it up, bring it. We can have it sent to our door. We can have it gets brought to our table, and we feel a freedom because we didn't have to put in the effort to buy the ingredients, put it together, or make it. And in a way, that's to us, many of us, that is the freedom, is we can have whatever we like whenever we feel like it, and we don't have to put in a whole lot of effort. And there is some joy and beauty in that, because sometimes we don't always want to cook. We don't always want to have to get the barbecue ready, or perhaps the air fryer. For those in this who are, been in this space for a while, we don't want to make the effort to make something. We want to have a takeout, or as we call it here in the UK, a takeaway. And we don't always want to have to put in the effort to cook something. I get it. Especially if, what we're eating is heavily carb. We don't want to have to make the pasta. We don't have to bake our own bread or whatever. We want it ready to go, and so we can just eat. And that is the fast pace, but also in many ways, the laziness of much of the Western world. And I say that without looking down on anybody, because I'm guilty of it too, right? I don't always feel like getting up and making my scrambled egg yolks with chicken or sausage or protein, whatever it is I'm making for breakfast that day. Sometimes I can easily convince myself that I'm not that hungry, and really what it is I just can't be bothered to quite get up yet and cook. So I know, I've learned that our cortisol runs through the evening when we're sleeping, and is at its peak first thing in the morning. And that the fastest way to bring it back down, so we're not in fight or flight mode, we are in fuel using fat burning mode, is to lower the cholesterol. And the best way to do that is eat a bit of fat. So I'll cut off a slice of butter, have a decaf coffee, and then maybe in half hour, 45 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm actually hungry. I'm ready to get up and cook something. So I do. And I share that because I want to make it clear I am not condemning people for wanting things to be quick and easy and ready to go, because that is our society these days. I know there was a time, like not so much even when my parents were my age, well, when my parents were younger, but when my grandparents were young, there were no takeaway rest. You didn't do takeaways. You didn't have fast food places. If you were going to eat, you had to have the items in your home. You either got them from the greengrocer or the supermarket. You brought them home and you made something from scratch, whatever it was. My one grandmother, my dad's mom, she was raised on a farm. So everything was made from scratch. And you might go and get your supplies every few weeks or every month, but you weren't popping out to the corner store for a half a pint of milk. You weren't running around the corner because, I ran out of cheese, or I want a few wraps in the fridge. That didn't exist. And people overall were probably a whole lot healthier. But we now, as a society, as humans, have food more readily available, more easily accessible, and therefore far more tempting for us and more easy for us to have food issues, food addictions, as well as, overall unhealthy. There's a saying, now it does come from a Bible scripture, but the saying applies whether you read that book or not. Okay. And it's this: everything is permissible, not everything is beneficial. And I think for too many years, for me at least personally, I always believed food freedom meant I get to eat whatever I like. Screw the consequences. And based on today's global epidemic of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, so have a lot of people. And the thing is, an occasional treat, we don't necessarily feel the effects of it right then. But I tell you what, a lifetime of occasional treats or binges or overindulgences, they add up and they affect our bodies. And so for me, a lifetime, in my case, I also have to share with you guys that I struggled with bulimia for 30 years. And that was a constant battle of having these overwhelming urges to binge on loads of junk, feeling horrible guilt, purging, trying to restrict for a few days, and then back on the binge cycle. And I know it's not just the women who have struggles with these things, men can too, but it seems to be particularly the case with women with eating disorders, with disordered eating. And some of those things can come because we have endured horrible traumas when we were younger. And so food becomes a coping mechanism. And the unfortunate thing is that food was only ever really meant to be used as fuel for the body. It was never meant to be something that could heal us emotionally. And at least for me, the more I punished myself with binging, purging, and restricting, the less healed I felt emotionally, the worse I felt. So the more I did it, hoping somehow that the outcome would be different. And so for me now, food freedom is this. It's not eating every single baked good or junk food or treat that I possibly could because I happened to feel like I wanted it. That's to me not freedom. That was a prison. Why? Because it kept me inflamed. It kept me 100 pounds overweight, made my IBS horrible, made my fibromyalgia pain unbearable, kept my brain fog, felt like my head was full of nothing but fog for years. So what many would consider to be freedom, with all these wide ranges of tastes and colors and options, for me at least, was a prison, because I was choosing all these things, but they weren't benefiting me. And so if we are affected negatively by something we consider to be part of freedom, that being eat whatever you feel like, keep it in moderation. Many of us can't do that, because if we could, again, we would not have global epidemics of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, right? So this thought of, oh, it's just a treat, oh, it's okay, it's only Saturdays, or it's only Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, or yeah, I have them every day, but I like them and I don't care. The problem is, and we have free will, and we can certainly choose to do that. The problem is, it doesn't benefit us. And then we become prisoners of the consequences afterwards, right? So for me, I think true freedom is being able to break away from carb and sugar addiction, to break away from the junk food, to break away from stimulants like, not that I was a smoker, but things like nicotine, certainly caffeine. For some people, it's alcohol. These are, and again, sugar, and it's many various forms in our sugars in almost everything that is made, and not just the sweet stuff, by the way. If you look at a jar of pasta sauce, it's full of sugar. If you get a can of Campbell's soup or any brand of soup that's pre-made, it's got sugar in it. It tastes savory, but it has sugar too. So sugar's everywhere. It's pervasive. And for me, freedom is being able to break away from the addictiveness of those food items, to eat in a way where I know my body's healing. How do I know? I've lost 100 pounds in 4 years. When I started to change my diet 4 years ago, I lost 100 pounds in 6 months. Now, let's be honest, that is not common. That is quite unusual. I'm not sorry it happened, but I literally just changed my diet and that was the result. I got rid of my brain fog. I started to get rid of my chronic pain and inflammation. I started to heal my IBS, where it is now fully healed, if I avoid the things that cause inflammation and symptoms to flare. Okay. When I was willing to embrace the limitations of the diet I now follow and the freedoms of the carbs and the starches and the sugars and the seed oils that were actually keeping me trapped in pain and illness, wow, that was food freedom. I no longer struggled with severe anxiety. I stopped struggling with depression, and I was no longer struggling with bulimia and the desire to constantly try to measure my caloric intake. How was I going to negate that? Okay, I ate this. Okay, so if I starve for X amount of days, I can get rid of it. If I had this, then if I do that, if I fast and I stop, then it'll go away. It'll get out of my body. Okay. I stopped those patterns of thought. I was no longer emotionally a roller coaster ride every single month, for most of the month, for the premenstrual cycle period, as well as the cycle. So my hormones started to balance out with my emotionally, but just overall, my thyroid is now running at optimum capacity, I like to say. I don't know if that's the correct medical term, but my thyroid is humming and chugging along. I am going through the menopause phase without any of the stereotypical symptoms, none of them. I feel amazing. I have loads of energy. No night sweats, hot flushes, weight gain, none of it. Because I found food freedom first. So I think food freedom is actually allowing ourselves to limit what we eat to the nutritious healing foods, which is animal products and of course some non-starchy vegetables and also some full-fat dairy for people who tolerate them, let me add. Okay? If you don't tolerate those things, cut them out. But just because we can choose to eat all the cupcakes and donuts and ice cream and pancakes with maple syrup, doesn't mean we should. And if you don't feel the consequences right now, you will. It's inevitable if we keep eating that stuff. It is not going to be good for our bodies. And so I wanted to share this with you guys that I personally feel that what food freedom is, or what it means to me anyways, is the freedom from having to constantly worry about my calorie intake, about how many carbs am I eating, how do I counteract those? Well, if I'm always eating starchy carbs, why am I crashing all the time? What do I do? None of that is a factor. I don't have those things in my life. I feel emotionally balanced. I feel mentally balanced and healthy. My dopamine and endorphins are generally always at a really good state. And meaning, how do I know? Just from my personal experience, because I'm not struggling with severe anxiety and depression anymore. I am not spending every waking moment worrying about what I'm going to eat next and how am I going to lose weight if I do. And so for me, I think what I think personally food freedom is or should be is the freedom we feel when we are not tied down to addictive junk food. And they are addictive. They're meant to be. And the thing is, we know that even when we're eating it, it's they're also designed to be highly palatable and extremely tasty. because they're not going to make money if people aren't going to keep eating their stuff and go back and buy more. So they're supposed to be addictive. They do it on purpose, right? That to me isn't freedom. That to me is being a prisoner of food addictions and processed garbage that slowly does poison our bodies over time. And so I think the first thing we all have to do, if you are tired of feeling like you always have to eat junk, or you can't stop eating the crap, or you want to, but it's so hard because you have a bit of a sweet tooth, or you have a bit of a salt addiction, okay? The people that make those things do it on purpose. They're not out for your good health. They're out to earn money. And they do that because they make the food taste so nice, and it's so easy to eat and go back for more and more and more because it's not filling. It's carbs, right? It's, you eat it quick, the brain uses it pretty quickly, and then the rest gets stored basically as fat eventually, okay? But you go back for more because you crave that taste, because it's very easy to become addicted. So if that is the case, and you want to be free of food addictions, and you want to be free of the junk and the crap that is slowly making you sick and sore, then I think the first thing we have to do, and I will say this applies to everybody, you got to cut out the junk food. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it is. It's absolutely not easy, because if it was easy, everyone would do it. So it's not easy, but it can be done. Learning how to swap out processed garbage for better choices. And there's a transition phase. You know, you might want to, instead of eating chips, you learn to start eating, I don't know, chicken bites, like cocktail sausages or refrigerators, or you might eat a couple of hard-boiled eggs, which I get when you're in the heart of the addiction to the garbage. May not sound appealing, but trust me, it gets better. Because if you can cut out all the junk food and all the highly processed, refined garbage, the sugary and the starchy stuff, you're going to feel loads better already. Okay. You're going to feel better almost right away. Within a couple of days, you're going to start to feel better. You will feel withdrawals, but then you will start to feel better. And you will no longer be chained to that bag of potato chips or that chocolate bar that you have to have every day at 3 o'clock. It is possible. Okay. And that's the first step. You get rid of the highly starchy processed carbs. Excellent. Get rid of all the sugar, all the seed oils. Amazing. And then from there, what you might find is that when you start to reduce your carbohydrates further, you'll have even less inflammation. I'm not saying you have to cut them out completely. Lots of people do well with non-starchy vegetables, maybe some less starchy fruits like berries every now and again, and they do great. And that's all the healing, that's all they needed to start to feel better and heal and have freedom, where they don't feel like they have to have this treat every single day because otherwise they have a headache, or they don't feel well, or they don't feel right. That's not freedom to me, you know, but it is possible to break through. And the other thing is, of course, is if you tolerate dairy, then you can have some full fat dairy. Not saying you have to cut that out necessarily, unless you have significant things you're trying to heal from, in which case you should, because dairy can be quite inflammatory for many people, including myself. Okay, but that doesn't mean you have to. So it is absolutely possible to be free from the chains of food addictions, of eating disorders and disordered eating. It is absolutely possible to break free. And for me, that's what food freedom means. I am no longer controlled by the urge to have to eat that crap every day. Because I was for a very long time. I would feel guilty about it, but I couldn't not have it. And that to me is not freedom. That to me was a nutritional prison. Okay. And it caused all kinds of physical problems with me as well. So If you are interested in getting help and you would like to learn more or would like to get support as you are yourself, perhaps trying to find food freedom, to get beyond the addictive carbs, the sugary stuff, the processed junk. If you want help, I can absolutely help you with that. I still have spots available for coaching. So please go to the website down below and book a session. I would love to help you. But let's get healing together. Let's work as a team. I mean, most people in the world, they kind of, not most, that's not fair, sorry. Many people in the world, especially the companies that manufacture all the garbage and all the poison, they don't want you to get well. They don't want you to be feeling healthy and healing and free from all their addictive crap, because then they don't make money. They're not out to help you. They want to make money from you. That's why they're in business. But that doesn't have to be the case. And if you need a little extra help to do it, get in touch. I would love to work with you. And let's get healing together. We can do this as a team, which is, I think, ultimately what we're supposed to be doing for each other in this lifetime as fellow humans on the planet. That's it for me, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that segment today. Please feel free to leave comments and questions always, and I will get back to you as soon as I come across them. And thank you so much, as always, for your support. Share this with anybody you think it might benefit, as well as, obviously, hopefully it'll benefit you too. If you're already on this journey, that's awesome. Fantastic. You're already on the right path. You're already heading in the right way. That's a non-inflammatory healing diet that is animal-based, but can include non-starchy vegetables and some berries for some people, and full-fat dairy for those who tolerate it. So let's work together. Let's encourage each other. Let's get food freedom out there for everybody that we possibly can. Let's not let the companies that manufacture their food poisons win, because right now they are. They're winning against our health and our well-being. Let's not let them win. Let's get our own health back. Let's find true freedom, free from their addictive poison, so that we can heal and be healthy. That's it for today. Sorry, I just had to put that little bit in at the end. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks as always for your support. See you next time for more content, and I have a couple of other projects on the go right now that I will update you on once they come to be. But all the best, and I hope you guys have fantastic days. Thanks, everybody. Love you guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.